US stocks finished the day sharply down, and we can tie it all to the president's announcement on tariffs. The S&P 500 was off just under 2%, the worst day since December, and it's now negative for the year. All three of the indices are lower since President Trump came into office and the inauguration. Paul LaMonica, Guru LaMonica, is with me, senior markets analysis writer. I mean, this is sort of Jenga, isn't it? This is classic Jenga with the markets that just pulls one bit out, pull the next bit out, and eventually see what happens.
Yeah, I think, obviously the animal spirits that everyone was hoping for. Yeah, there's an animal spirit on Wall Street. It's a bear, Richard, because investors are very worried about these tariffs. And that's why you saw this massive sell-off in the stock market and a flight to safety. Dividend payers, you look at the Dow, Verizon, Coke, J&J, P&G. Those were some of your few winners. That's not the type of market we've been accustomed to, where the banks and big tech have been leading the way. So I think investors are very, very nervous, and rightfully so, because it doesn't look like President Trump is blinking in this potential trade war.
Okay, so let's be more optimistic here. If the administration in Washington did an about face or solved the tariffs and said we're not going to do that, we're going to do, would the market rally back up again, or is there uncertainty? Because as Howard Elarian said on this program at the beginning, the worry now is stagflation.
Yeah, I think investors have every right to be concerned that inflation pressures may creep higher again, particularly because of tariffs. And then if you have some of the recent jobs numbers, which have been, not awful, but not as great as they were a few months ago, that does raise some concerns about stagnant growth, obviously the stag part, and inflation roaring back. And that would be something that would be a nightmare for the Fed. It's very difficult for central bankers to deal with stagflation. I think, though, that Richard, that the hope is that, yes, once again, maybe Trump comes to a deal with Canada and Mexico similar to a few weeks ago, but there's still China, and then there's still the threat of potential tariffs on the European Union down the road that would also be very problematic, to put it mildly.
Briefly, Paul, at the end of the day, what we are seeing in the markets is not irrational. It makes perfect sense to the way I look at it. The uncertainty that investors dread is being heaped on in spades. And so we can honestly say there is rationality to what we are experiencing.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. Valuations are still rich. We're not that far from all-time highs. Yes, the market has been excited about the hopes for tax cuts and deregulation and other quote unquote good economic policies from the president and the Republican Congress. But all we've been getting are talk of tariffs and none of the stuff that made people so excited shortly after the election results last November.
I'm grateful to you, sir. Guru LaMonica, as always. Thank you.